The ITA National Indoor Tournament, in terms of the bracket, has been released. And it goes as follows. I apologize for looking at it because I cannot memorize all this stuff. It is co-hosted by Baylor and SMU. It starts February 13th. If you lose the first match, you'll definitely play on February 15th, as in like 3 matches in 3 days. Even if you win the first match, but if you lose the second, you're definitely, on Valentine's Day, you're going to definitely play on February 15th. But if you win the first 2 matches, February 15th, you get that day off. Because the following day, February 16th, you're going to play in a semifinal match. And obviously, you got to allow those schools that from the Baylor side of the bracket to travel up to SMU to practice and get ready for that match, the following match on February 16th. And obviously, the semifinal winners will play each other the next day. So everybody's guaranteed at least 3 matches. It's more like if you win the semifinal match, you're going to play 4 matches in general. And I'm going to start on the Baylor side of the bracket here first. And these times are in Central Time. I know all this will be live stats and live streaming online. Just a heads up there. Now at 9 a.m., TCU is going to take on LSU. Not exactly an easy match for either direction here. Just being really honest. Then at noon or a little bit later, there's Texas versus Texas A&M. Then at 3:30 p.m., UCF is going to take on Baylor. Obviously, it could be a little bit later because of the first 2 matches. And the last one on the Baylor side on that day, 6:30 p.m. or a little bit later, depending on the first 3 matches, Wake Forest is going to take on UC Santa Barbara. There was going to be the question of who was going to be the 7th seed, and whoever was going to be the 7th seed was going to be upset. I mean, going into it, before all this came out in the matches yesterday, if Baylor didn't win against Texas A&M, they probably would have been a 7th seed. They probably would have been because A&M would have been unbeaten, and LSU is also unbeaten. Baylor did beat Texas A&M, a top 10 squad, 4-1 without the doubles point. So I do think that benefited them. Yes, I know LSU won all those matches, but no top 10 wins. That might have been the difference. And obviously, Texas A&M only suffered 1 loss. So I don't know how, like, either way, if you want to switch LSU and Texas A&M, it's either way is like picking hairs and all this. So I'm just saying, don't be upset with me on the seeding here and all the matchups. If you're going to be upset with somebody, go to the ITA for that. What are they supposed to do? And if you're a Baylor fan, you got to be relieved that you're not going to play any of the Texas schools on your side of the bracket, at least for the first 2 matches. Especially that you play TCU at TCU in their indoor facilities and you just played A&M last night. Let alone you get to avoid Texas right away. That's big for them. And if they do play beat UCF, they're going to probably play Wake Forest. That's better than playing in those Texas schools because they're more familiar. And Wake Forest is not like some invincible team by any means. They're not as good as last year. That's clear. But even if Baylor were to lose, they should beat UC Santa Barbara the next day. Assuming UC Santa Barbara does lose to Wake Forest. That's probably what I would think would happen, but you never know. Now, the SMU side of the bracket. At 9 a.m., Stanford's going to take on Arizona State. Not an easy match either way. Then at noon or a little bit later, Ohio State's going to play SMU. You're not going to call it the way it is. Ohio State's not going to lose that match. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. But you never know. After all, they did lose to UCF unexpectedly last year. Then at 3:30 p.m. or later, depending on the first two matches, Virginia's going to take on Clemson. Not an easy match either way. Not exactly. Then at 6:30 p.m. or a little bit later, Mississippi State's going to take on Florida. Yeah, that's going to not be an easy match either way. So, yeah, I might as well just go over like the on the Valentine's Day stuff on. Obviously, for the main draw, the first matches for the main draw are like at noon, while the back draw is at 9 a.m. So it could be noon or a little bit later, depending on what happens. And then on the main draw, 3:30 p.m. or later, depending on those first two matches at those respective sites, will occur. Then actually the back draw at 6:30 p.m. or later, depending on the other matches on that day. So yeah. Now February 15th is just a back draw, and all this, and all the times are like TBD according to the website here. Now, the semifinals and the finals is at SMU, like I mentioned in the beginning here. It's 3:30 p.m. for one of the matches. For the SMU side of the bracket on the semifinal, while the other side of the bracket would be at 6:30 p.m. or a little bit later, and obviously the championship is at 6:30 p.m. the following day. We're going to have to obviously wait and see what happens, who's going to come out on top, who's going to, in all this tournament, who's going to be 0-3, because there's going to be 2 0-3s in all this. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the Reddit. 800 subscribers, of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. Some of my monitors, of course, like video, comment video really helps YouTube background. Some more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well. Some more people could watch, and if you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button, ring the notification bell as well.